All right, let's go ahead and do, the main event here, which is the zero RB draft strategy. I'd say the first one, Chris, let's make sure to not draft a running back before round 6. So again, this is going to give us the opportunity to get 3 wide receivers, a sweet quarterback, and a sweet tight end if we want. Maybe we go even more, 4 or 5 wide receivers. Crazier things have happened. But again, it really is just making sure you guys are being aware of what's your league asking you. If you're only starting 2 wide receivers and you only have 1 flex, guess what? You should be prioritizing running back in the other positions a bit more. But if you all of a sudden guys start 3 wide receivers, only 2 running backs, that is when you can be a bit more excited about it. So looks like we are picking higher up than usual. Chris, we've been getting some shoddy draft positions, if I do say so myself. Pick 104, CD. Yeah, it is random. CD, CMC, and Breece Hall off the board. Let's go ahead and get Tyreek Hill.
I mean, there's just no other pick right here, to be quite honest, man. And I feel like we're cheating here. I mean, what are the odds that we choose to use this strategy while also getting a spot to get us an elite wide receiver, like right off the rip? I mean, that's can't ask for a better randomizer here.
Tyreek 104, great day to be great there. As we get back into round 2, Marvin Harrison Jr., Drake London, Chris Olave, Devontae Adams, Jalen Waddle, all on the board. And yeah, Chris, I say we bring Maserati Marv right back on down, man. Maybe able to get Drake London at the turn 2.
And again, that's where if you are picking towards either one of the turns, that you can start to see what the trends are, see what each drafter before and after you is going to be drafting. And in this case, since we kind of banked on London coming back to us, like, look at that, it wound up working out.
Wide receiver.
And even if we didn't, I mean, we could have gotten some solid options afterwards. Ayuk, we could have stacked Waddle like with Hill and still get Waddle here in the 4.
If you're using your first, let's get Jalen Waddle there too, man. So again, 4 absolute stud wide receivers to start. And when you do that, that does afford you now the positional flexibility to take a lot of running backs later in the draft because we are already that strong at wide receiver. So we'll go Waddle here. And again, through the first 4 rounds, I'm going to be shocked if we don't have the number 1 ranked wide receiver room here.
We better.
And then we'll see, yeah, right. Seriously, I will be calling the freaking, makers of this technology if not. But here we are now in round 5. Still some baller wide receivers, but I do think at this time we can start looking, at some of the onesie positions. Who do we have at a quarterback and tight end, Chris, as we get in the early parts of round 5? Kyle Pitts, Kyler Murray, Jake Ferguson, David Njoku, Dak Prescott. I mean, I'd be down with Kyle Pitts again.
I would take him here, and then just looking at, because some of those other guys that kind of fall in the same tier-ish, like for me, I think that, well, I'll take that back. Pitts kind of like cuts that tier break, and then Ferguson starts the next one for me.
Last of the elite tight ends. I have my tight end tiers actually going live on Thursday, so make sure you guys check that out.
Go.
But, just quickly on Kyle Pitts, why did he bust last year? He was extra banged up that we didn't really know about. Jonnu Smith stole reps, and he had a terrible quarterback. And yeah, guys, if those things weren't rectified this year, I'd be a bit hesitant about going back down that path again, but he is healthier. He has Kirk Cousins throwing the ball now, and Jonnu Smith now plays in Miami. So yeah, I would say, things are going quite a bit better. Let's go ahead and go full zero RB here. Make the stack. Kyler Murray in round, 6 or 7, I believe now. Get that Marvin Harrison Jr. connection right there. So let's look at the overall roster, Chris, through 6 rounds. Again, freaking loaded at wide receiver. Tyreek Hill, Marvin Harrison Jr., Drake London, and Jalen Waddle. Then we went ahead and got Kyle Pitts and then Kyler Murray to basically set up everything except running back. So 0 RBs through the first 6 rounds. Let's see what we can go ahead and come away with now. So no surprise, going to be going heavy RB from this point on. Chris is going to go ahead and just simulate the rest of the draft. So hopefully the computer lets us, get some studs here. Looks like we might have gotten Raheem Mostert. Him and David Montgomery, I have personally noticed really good, middle round picks when you are trying to execute this sort of strategy. But it is just about trying to get numbers at this point. We've gotten the studs early on because we use those high picks on quarterback, tight end, and wide receivers. It gives us a chance to, again, load up heavy at running back. So another B+ grade, getting the number 1 wide receiver position rank as expected. Ended up getting filled out with at running back, Raheem Mostert, Austin Eckler, Trey Benson, Marshawn Lloyd, Rico Dowdle, Ray Davis, and then we got Baker Mayfield for some reason at the very end as well. So probably would have preferred another running back over our guy Baker, Chris. But this is kind of what your running back room is going to look like if you are going 0 RB, where, yeah, guess what? When you pull up those week 1 projections against your buddies, it's not going to feel great to have Raheem Mostert and Austin Eckler going up against, some team with Bijan Robinson and Saquon Barkley out there. But literally, man, guess what? Injuries happen in the NFL. Guys like Ray Davis, Rico Dowdle, Marshawn Lloyd, Trey Benson, if their team starter misses a week, man, they're going to be on the cover of every single waiver wire article out there. So those are the sort of archetypes we got to be going after. And again, Chris, I probably thought our hero RB team was a little better overall, but I'll take this over the robust RB nonsense we got going at first.
Oh, 100%. Now, I would say, though, us getting the 104 versus the 112 for the robust RB, that kind of put us in a better starting position anyway. But either way, I think your point is valid in that, like, these are the types of archetypes of running backs that you are going to be shooting for. Like, if you go this route, because you're going to need to have those running backs that have at least like a solid weekly projections, like Mostert, like, okay, like still working in tandem, like with Devon Achane, which we're assuming is going to be the case early on in the season. But then things kind of got to break your way. Like Austin Eckler is going to have to be that solid RB2 behind Brian Robinson. We're going to need to see Trey Benson either carve out some sort of role for himself. Maybe something happens to James Conner, Marshawn Lloyd, like working alongside Josh. I mean, all those guys, you have to be able to tell yourself a story about how each of them kind of work their way into having like 10-ish plus touches like per game, and try and create that type of like RB2 value for on a week-to-week basis. Because your wide receivers and tight ends and of course your quarterback, they're going to be carrying the load for your team. But as long as your running backs can give you, let's say top 20, around top 24-ish upside on a week-to-week basis, then your whole squad can got to be kicking, and you can wind up contending at least to make the playoffs and wind up taking down your entire league. But that's I'd say take away the names and just try and find guys that you can tell yourself a similar story about, like at similar cost to what we have here.